Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Butterfly Blue, a deeply calming jasmine tea. A gentle white tea combining tropical fruits and butterfly blue pea flower. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
It's Litty B, the one and only.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, how you doing? I'm really excited to be here.
Hell yeah. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
For sure. Well, I'm Litty B, and I'm 28 years old. I've been making music, I say officially for 6 years.
Okay.
Didn't really start dropping until 2022 though, officially.
Gotcha.
And I mainly stay in North Portland, so I've been working with a lot of artists in that area. And that's mainly my main thing right now.
Oh yeah. And what got you into music initially?
I would say my godfather. He is my uncle from my mom's side. Mm-hmm. He grew up in Los Angeles.
Did he make you an offer you couldn't refuse? I'm sorry.
I mean, he did. That's
my dumb joke of the week. We're getting it out early, y'all.
No, he did though, because I would always, one of my favorite things was always riding around with him in his car, and he used to have the biggest subwoofers in the world.
Okay.
All you heard was every time you heard him walking or driving down the block. And the very first album he put me on was The Carter 3 by Lil Wayne.
Okay.
And ever since then, I never looked back.
Hell yeah. That's a good album for sure. Yeah. And actually, that segues right into our next question perfectly. Mm-hmm. This one is one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
So after The Carter 3, that's really what got me into music. I would say after that, I would say Nelly's album. I forgot the very first one he came out with when he blew up. I remember I spent money on that one.
Is that Country Grammar?
It might have been the one before that.
Okay. Damn, yeah, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, it's when he brought the Band-Aid bag and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But I haven't slapped Nelly in forever. That was back in the old days. And stuff.
See, nobody probably remembers this, but I had Suit and Sweat, the double album that he dropped.
Oh, really?
And that was the first time. Then, after that, E40 did one. I think it was Day Shift, Night Shift. And that was a moment for me.
Legends in the game.
Oh, damn! Look at this dude just dropping 2 albums at the same time with 2.
No, for sure.
Vibes.
T-Pain's album too, when he first came on the scene with autotune and stuff. Yeah. He definitely changed the game up, and I feel like T-Pain is one of the biggest artists that inspired me just because of the autotune. I use a lot of autotune.
Oh man, if you go back through many episodes, as well as even on my audio only, I did an artist focused episode that was just T-Pain.
Oh really?
Big fan.
For sure.
I am very actively familiar, especially with his music from 2017 onwards. Super good. So I could definitely stand behind that.
Broke the barriers down a lot in the rap game for sure.
Oh yeah. He did a lot of things without even telling people he did them for a long time.
For sure.
Appreciated.
A lot of people didn't give him his flowers, but
he's getting them now.
Yeah, for sure.
He's getting them now. Yeah. And everybody that was in the game knew it. I think that's really what it was, is he was getting a lot of respect at the time where he deserved it, in the places where he needed it.
Jay-Z's autotune, Death of Autotune, when he was pretty much dissing T-Pain and stuff because he just was tired of the autotune and stuff.
I don't think he was dissing T-Pain specifically. I think he, obviously, there's some statements in there that will probably say otherwise, but when T-Pain came out with it, people didn't understand what he was doing. So they thought it was the auto-tune and not him.
Yeah, for sure.
So, granted, it was he really came out swinging with the effect.
Yeah.
But, he was also, he can actually sing. So I don't think people realized he was doing layers and then using it as an enhancement. But we're not here to talk about him.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about you. So let's get back into that. And this next question kind of stays in the same vein. What was the first live show you ever went to? That was one you wanted to go. So you saw it was happening, you got tickets, and you went to it.
I I would say my very first show would be. They were around the same time, but it was when I was in college. I went to a Dizzy Wright concert, and I went to a Flatbush Zombies concert.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so
hell yeah.
Yeah, Flatbush Zombies was my stuff back then.
They're incredible.
For sure.
3001 A Laced Odyssey.
It's classic.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind.
Better Off Dead, my favorite mixtape.
They have a track. Oh my God. I can't remember what it's called, but there's this track where the low end in it is so crazy that when I used to work at Guitar Center, I would use that track to demo subwoofers because it was the only one that would bottom out 18s.
Oh, wow.
Like, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
It started with the super distorted piano, and then the lead guy came in, he's like, say hello to say.
Oh, when you cross the bridge.
Yeah,
like Something Come Save Me, or...
oh, man, it's going to drive me.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Put it in the comments. That
great song.
The low end on that track is insane.
Yeah, Michi Darko is one of my favorite artists too. The way his raspy voice and the way he comes on is crazy. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then before we move on to more focusing on you in the current day, do you have a defining moment where because obviously you got into music at a certain point, but what was the moment where you decided this is what I want to do for sure?
It's funny enough that I started off wanting to do music videos for artists.
Okay.
That's how I initially wanted to come into the game with the industry or whatever the case is. But when I was first coming up, there wasn't many artists that I could reach out to and be like, hey, let me shoot you a music video. I'll do it for free. I just wanted to get my name out there, you know? And since I wasn't really finding many people to help me in that aspect, I said, well, if I can't find them, then I might as well do it. You know? So, I've always had a knack for music. I've always freestyled, growing up in high school with my friends in the car.
Yeah, same.
I never really took it serious. I would say the dumbest stuff ever, one of my freestyles. But it was just me trying to be funny. It wasn't me actually trying to rap.
Yeah.
It was just me saying something that rhymed, but I also try to make it funny. I was kind of like a little rapper.
Little Dicky made an entire career off of that. So, there's something there to be said.
Yeah.
But no, I get that. And that's cool. It's cool to see that you've always just been a bit of a creative or a creator.
Yeah, for sure.
Creative is the right one.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, for sure, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, I didn't know anything about video until my buddy was like, I wish I could do a YouTube series. I was like, well, get a camera and I'll figure out how to do camera stuff and we'll do it. And now...
Yeah, and here we are 450 episodes later.
Oh, yeah, this is 451, I believe.
Man, there we go.
But let's now get on into you in the current day. And we're going to get a super easy one out of the way.
Okay.
How did you pick the name?
Litty B. Okay, so funny enough, I'm always smoking weed. I'm always high. So I'm always lit. That's what that's the terminology a lot of people say. So since I'm always high, and that's my main choice of anything is just marijuana. I don't really care for drinking, don't really care for other drugs. Marijuana is the main one that I use. So I was like, well, man, I'm always lit. And my name starts with the B. My real name is Brian. So it's like Litty B. It's like Litty Brian. And everybody used to always call me B. B.
Yeah,
all that stuff. So then I was like, why not just add Litty? And Litty rhymes with B too. So it's
perfect.
It's perfect name for me. So,
I dig that.
And everybody calls me Litty now. So, so it's pretty cool.
There you go. You got a new nickname out of your nickname that you made up based off an old nickname. I love it.
Exactly. It's just like a nickname after nickname after nickname. I was like, you know what? Let's settle on Litty B.
Oh, yeah. It's cool because it definitely, first of all, it rolls off the tongue well. It's really easy to kind of put into anything.
For sure.
And stylistically, I was saying this on somebody else, Louis B. When you have the letter there, the B is just such a cool letter to aesthetically make things with. So it really leaves a lot of room.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy one to forget. So
for sure. Heck yeah, man. Yeah.
And then let's talk about your writing process.
Okay.
And we're going to break it up into chunks, but we're going to start right at the beginning.
For sure.
So when you get inspired, you're ready to make music. What are some of the things you do to get a track started?
Is this talking about the beginning of when I would first be?
Yeah, I would say for when you're making a Litty B track, how do you go about getting that started?
So I would say when I first initially started making music, I would write my verses.
Okay.
So I would legit just listen to a beat and I would just write to the beat. And that was when I first started making music. Current day now, I freestyle my stuff.
Okay.
So, I have my own home studio. And since I have my own home studio, I always record myself and I punch in now. So it's
Gotcha.
I write in my head, and instead of writing it on a paper, I just punch it in because it's already on the track. There's no need for me to write it down and then have to say it again on the track. That's just double work for me at that point.
Gotcha.
But if I'm working with a producer and an engineer at another studio, say I'm actually paying for their studio time, I'm not going to go in there and waste their time by just having me freestyle, because I know that it might take me a little bit longer for me to freestyle my words. So I'll go in there with a 16-bar verse already written.
Oh, okay.
So when I first was working with Frano, my first engineer who showed me everything I know, shout out Frano, he was the one that I would go in with verses already, because when he would be making a beat, I would just be rehearsing my verses while he's making the beat, so that way I can make it sound perfect by the end. When he's done, he's like, all right, you ready to go? Ready to go. Go in there, record in like 30 minutes or less. After that, we record an organic song in 3 hours.
Boom. Okay. Hell yeah.
That was their initial process. But now, again, I have my own home studio. It's like having I always explain this to people. It's like having a basketball court in the back of your house. You know,
you can just practice three.
You want to shoot the basketball. You know, you want to shoot your threes. You want to shoot half court jump shots. Whatever you want to do, you have the opportunity to do that because you have that there, and there's nobody telling you, "Hey, hurry up! I only have 20 minutes left until somebody else comes in," or whatever the case is. You know?
Hell yeah! I love that. So really, it's not that you don't write; it's just that you write into the computer already.
Yeah, exactly.
Having to put it on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just gonna do double the work at that point. But yeah, I mean, if I can, I'll freestyle. If it's like especially a more organic session. But if it's something that I know, say like 5 of us or 4 of us are going to a studio, meet up and record a track or a couple tracks, I'm gonna go in there prepared. Obviously, I'm not gonna go in there just trying to wing it and stuff.
I love that. I think it's cool that you can. I think it's cool that you can acknowledge both, even as an option.
No, for sure. I don't want to waste anybody's time, just like I wouldn't want anybody to waste my time. So,
no, totally. And then once you get a track finished, so maybe not like recorded and put out and things like that, but once you finished, writing a track and getting it like laid down, how long does it usually take you to get comfortable recording it?
I just hop right in.
Or I'm sorry, not recording, performing it. Oh man.
Performing it. That's a good question. I mean, it just depends on how well I like the song. You know, like there's a song that I'll make and I'm like, yo, this is a banger, and I'll slap it constantly as soon as I make it for the next 5 days, and I'll just slap it constantly that I remember all my lyrics,
Okay.
Sometimes if it's a song that I made, but I made like say 2 other songs that same day, sometimes some of those songs might get swept to the side because I have all these other songs that I'm making as they're being pushed to the side. So if it's a specific song I want to do, sometimes I will record it, because when I first did my first performance, I got a little faded, so I got like cross-faded, so I was drinking and I was smoking, so I did kind of forget a little of my lyrics and stuff, which is not many people notice, but I notice. And so it's like, I don't want that to ever be a problem in the future as well. So I definitely practice my lyrics, not before I perform them, for sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah. But would you, like, if we had to give it like a window of time, like if you had to say like,
I would say for sure a week.
Okay.
If it's me actually taking the time for me to do it. But overall, like if it's a good song, if it's a simple song, I probably less than that.
Okay.
But if it's like an actual performance that I want to take my time with, I might actually give myself like 2 weeks to like perform or something.
But you're not gonna like go do a song in the studio and then like perform it that day. You're gonna give it that time to get solid. I would not be able to do that. No. I would forget at least half my bars. I might remember the chorus because the chorus is usually the catchiest one and the easy one to remember. Everything else, I'd be like, watermelon. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, no, hell yeah. Now, I know that you produce beats as well. You make music.
I don't produce beats. I do everything else besides that.
Okay, so you're more
like engineer. Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I record people and I mix and master their tracks.
Okay. Now, do you do that for yourself as well, or do you try to like separate the two?
When I'm making my own music, I mix and master as I'm going along with it.
Oh, interesting.
So sometimes a lot of people might think that's a little bit more time consuming, but for me, it's easier because I'm already doing it.
Yeah, you're already there.
I'm not. I hate to be those people that do something and then they have to go back and redo something, because I feel like you're never going to be content if you keep doing that. But at the same time, everybody has a different way of thinking. With me, it's like I want to get it done then and there now. That way I can be content by the time I leave. Yeah. Because I never really want to revisit anything else, because I feel like when you have a moment, in that moment. You want to get it done type of thing.
Hell yeah. I dig that. I dig that. So then when it comes to working with other people, like how do you like separate yourself from like what you expect to hear from versus like making sure you get them what they want to hear?
I usually just let them do their own thing, and I'm kind of there just to be somebody to guide them and mentor them. I'm never gonna be somebody like, you need to do it this way because it sounds better and it has to be that way. I've never been that type of person, because at the end of the day, everybody's their own creative in their own way. If they ask me a question and they say, "Hey, how do you think that sounds?" I'm gonna give them my input, but I'm not gonna say this is how it should be.
Okay.
I usually give more advice and more input when people who are trying to sing and be more melodic, because I consider my style of music more melodic rap, melodic hip hop. So hitting notes, a lot of people think just because you put auto-tune on your voice is going to make you sound good. No, that's a false narrative that I don't know who heard that, but you still have to hit the notes when you're on auto-tune, or else it's going to hear you're going to hear like
exactly
screeches or like little high notes and stuff like that aren't supposed to be there. So when it comes down to things like how should I say this word, should I say or should I say or like just how you should do it, I'll give them that input. But for the most part, I let them do their own thing. If they like it, they like it. If they want me to be more of a critiquer rather than somebody just to be a yes man, I'll do that as well. But it's all because if they're asking me, I'm not going to do it or like force myself on somebody like that.
I dig that. That's good bedside manner for sure. And now looking at some of your music, because you've definitely got a lot, and definitely that explains it to a degree. Because I was going through your Spotify. I mean, you've got 9 albums dropped in 2 years. You've got a ton of features, and you've got a really consistent sound. Like not like just like audibly, it's really consistent, but your flow is as well. It's like it's got this good vibe without being too like drony. And you've even got a couple tracks that are entirely in Spanish, which I think is really cool. And I mean, like some of your tracks that I highlight, like "Go Dumb" is a banger.
Go Dumb,
Problems. Shout out to Frano for production on that one. But I would say "Money Sprung" is probably my
that one. Frano created that beat.
Hell yeah, I just didn't want to give him too many shout outs.
Shout out Frano. He's the go. I always tell Frano give him his flowers. Again, I would want somebody to give my flowers if I had
definitely
life in some way.
Definitely.
Shout out Frano. Funny thing about "Money Sprung," I made that song on shrooms.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, so I was listening. I came into the studio and I just ate like a few caps and a few stems. So, like it wasn't like enough to get like tripping and seeing visuals and stuff like that. But I just ate them.
In a space.
Yeah, put in my space, and then I was listening to Frano as he's making the beat, like ding, ding, ding. And that just put me in like a trance like state, and I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. So then when I was recording it and I was hearing myself, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a banger for sure.
Hell yeah.
And then I made it, and then surprisingly enough, I dropped that song on my birthday in 2022, August 3rd.
Okay.
And so I dropped that song on my birthday, and I was in LA where I'm originally from. I was born there. And so like to hear all that happen and for it to drop on that same day where I was born, and I went through that experience, it was just a very beautiful experience on my own, and which a lot of people don't know, so
it sounds really powerful. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Of course, yeah.
But now I'm curious to know, because like I said, you've got a grip of tracks. What is your favorite track to perform?
To perform, huh? I would say for the most part, my bigger ones would be my reggaeton ones, like my Spanish ones. I think those are like, I would say any one of those songs just because they make you want to dance.
Yeah, very much.
For sure. So it's like, you can't really beat that. When I tell people about like songs like that, it's like the beat is making you dance already. My words are just enhancing the beat. It's not really doing what the beats are doing, which is making you want to dance. And that's all I could ask for, is just vibing out and dancing to my music. Because I come from like in Mexican culture, which is always dancing. You go to parties, quinceañeras, all these things. People are always on the dance floor and they're dancing. And so if my music can make you dance in some way or some form, I'm always love performing those type of songs.
I feel that. Hell yeah. But like, if you had to pick one, which one would you get most hype about? Or like, which one do you get a little more hype about?
I would say Casamigos.
Okay.
And that one is because if you listen to the lyrics, it's more of like me calling out, fake people and like, trying to be in my life, but also like I'm making it sound lit and turned up, but I'm saying real stuff in that song. For me, because it's almost like I'm helping vent a lot of frustrations that I've, experienced with a lot of fake love in my life, but I'm also making it sound lit. So
I got you. That's an interesting duality for sure. Hell yeah. And then looking at your current music. So I want to look at, stuff that come out recently as well as stuff that hasn't come out yet, stuff you're working on. Looking at the characteristics of it, like the attributes and descriptive parts of it, what are some of the things that you enjoy about your current sound?
I think it's just being able to hop on any melody and make something. Kind of like, again, I'm very melodic. So if I hear a beat and it has a melody on it, I don't even have to say any words when I'm listening to the beat. All I do is hum it out, you know? And I've listened to other artists in the past, like, you know, Kid Cudi, when he goes into the studio and he does his humming and stuff like that. It's not so much for him to just do hums on the track. It's because he wants to hear how it would sound, and then all you do is fill in the blanks with words, you know? So now when I hop on the beat, I'll hum it out first. I'll be like, huh,
Yeah, just figure out the melody.
and then after I figure out the melody, then it's like, what do I want? Do I want? And then it's just like, you know, you just fill it in with the words or whatever the case is at that point. So when it comes to melodic stuff, I feel like that's my bread and butter. You know, that's my go-to every single time for sure.
Oh yeah, I dig that. And then this next question, this is one that we've only asked once before. It's a super new question, but I really like it, and so I'm excited to see what you say.
Okay.
And because you work with other people as well, I think you'll have a little bit more of an input on this one. But looking at music as a whole, like where it's gone to in the last, we'll say the last 5 years.
Okay.
What are some things you enjoy about the recent changes in music?
I would say the fact there's a lot more people doing it, because again, there's just more sounds and more pools of things that you can either be inspired from, or you could just enjoy, you know, at the end of the day. Because I feel like back then when people weren't able to upload their own music, say through DistroKid or all these other distributors for music, it was kind of like you had to go through radio, or you had to find somebody to sign you and stuff like that. And I feel like that was holding a lot of people back to not really be exposed to a lot more opportunities. So where the state of music is now, I feel like it's very important for anybody that's an independent artist, because they have the same capabilities and the same opportunities for them to go viral or for them to blow up, or whatever the case is. Same way another label is probably paying an artist for the promotion, like the radio play, like all that stuff. Like obviously if you have the money and you're an independent artist, by all means, you know, promote yourself and invest in yourself. But it's cool to know that there's almost a level playing field now.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then to wrap up this middle portion, this is probably the densest question in the interview.
Okay.
You know, we've talked about your experiences, about the experiences of like music and actualities and things like that. But when it's just you and music one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
I'd say it's more of a therapy for me, to be honest. I think growing up, I was very secluded and very isolated with my feelings a lot. And so like I'd be one of those kids that would bottle up a lot of things, and then I would explode if it ever got to that point, you know? And I didn't like for that to ever happen, you know? So with music, it's like, you know, if I go through something and I'm able to make a song about it and write about it, or whatever the case is, and I'm listening to the song back, like I might feel some type of way in the moment, but like if I listen to that song, say a couple years later, I'm gonna feel so proud that I made that song, you know, because it helped me get through a time in my life where I thought I probably couldn't get through, you know? Like for example, one song that I really enjoy is Foolish. And that song was a song about my ex, and I made that song after I saw her at the bar with some other guy, and this was like a few months after we broke up, you know. And so like in that moment, I didn't know how to express it, you know. I didn't know what to feel, I didn't know how to go about it, and so all I did was like, well, let me do what I know best and go in the studio and make a song. And so like when I made that song, it was a very deep song, it's a very emotional song, but now when I listen to it, I turn up, because it's such a good song, but it also was a feeling that I hope I never feel again, but it's also, I'm glad that I went through it because it made me a better person at the end of the day, type of thing, you know? And a better artist.
Yeah, I love that.
For sure, yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions.
For sure.
And for these, the questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be 2, and the sky's the limits. But this first one's pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive.
Okay.
Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
They have to be alive, huh? That was a good question, because the have to be alive threw me off a little bit though.
Yeah.
I've had some artists that inspired me for sure, but they've obviously unfortunately passed away. So make a song with right now. I'm trying to think who's the most melodic rapper. I would say either A Boogie.
Okay.
Or J.I. the Prince.
Yeah.
In New York and stuff. Just because the way that they are coming, say from New York. You know, when you think of New York, you don't think of like singing type of songs. I mean, like you think of like grunting, like, you know, stomp out somebody, like, you know, crunk, you know, like Pop Smoke type of vibes, you know? So I would want to make a song with them just because they've been in the game for a while too. And the way that they sound on melodic beats is insane, you know? And like the way they're able to most of them, they're freestyling too, which is crazy. But they're able just to find their sound and just make it sound so lit, but they're also saying real stuff in their songs. And it's not just like, oh, I can sing here, you know, but it's like they go out, talk about their struggles from New York, and obviously I don't know what it feels like to grow up in New York and stuff like that. Probably was bad, you know? Yeah. So it's like, you know, but to hear them and to see them come out on top of that, and, you know, especially in an area where it's overpopulated and stuff for sure, and, you know, and hear them and see how big they are, like, I would definitely love to work with them just because seeing what they've overcame and stuff too, for sure.
Hell yeah. No, those are two really solid answers.
Yeah.
And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to work with yet, but you would like to?
Local artists, huh? There's a few. For the most part, I feel like I've worked with a few artists, but there's one artist that is pretty big. I've seen him through one of the homies who shot one of our music videos. He goes by Collective Films. He shoots with this guy named Three-Way Hef. He's pretty good, you know. Yeah. I know of him because of a bunch of mutuals that I know and stuff like that, and they know him too and stuff like that. But I've heard him and his music pop up on my timeline, and I've seen him. He's really good for sure. That's definitely one artist I probably would want to work with.
Oh yeah, everybody at him in the comments. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'd be sick. I feel like we could make some bangers for sure. But for the most part, I feel like I've worked with a lot of big artists in the city so far. Recently, I made a tape with Frano with gathering 10 artists from Portland and stuff like that, and I was able to work with 9 other artists in that one single studio session, you know, which is really great for me to see. But I was able to connect with a lot of other artists just because of that one session. Yeah. So now I'm able to, like, you know, reach out and work with other artists in the city just because of being able to just, hey, let's all get together rather than, you know, being individualistic or, you know, egotistical, whatever the case is. You know, we're out in here trying to, you know, get to the same goal. So why not help each other?
No, very much so. I always try to make a point on the show that, you know, music is so music was collaborative back in the day, and it should be collaborative now.
And now, for sure,
so accessible to everybody. Like, why wouldn't you want to work with people when you could do it anywhere, pretty much?
For sure. And one thing I would like to add too on top of that is, like, when you work with somebody and you make it naturally in the same studio session, I like those sessions more.
Yeah, versus like sending it to somebody in their own space and like doing all that. Yeah.
Let me send you a verse and see if you fuck with it, send it back. If you don't, then whatever, we'll work on something else in the future, whatever the case. So it's just like, it doesn't feel...
It's a very different energy when I mean, you know, obviously if you're like a world touring artist and you just can't get to the ones
exactly.
Like, you know, but when you're at that
Drake,
point,
I understand.
At that point, you've like been in the room enough times. But no, there's really something to be said about when a person is in the same space, feeling that same energy.
Yeah. You know, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, so you know, by the end of the day, you're gonna make a banger. That's all I know.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And then moving on to this next question. Like I said before, the sky's the limits, and in this one, it's pretty literal. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you didn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, it was guaranteed the best lineup, guaranteed the best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It can be anywhere. It'll work.
Okay.
Where would you want to perform?
That's a really good question. I would say either in the middle of the ocean. I would say either Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Just because I think that would be the sickest thing ever. Just being on a stage in the middle of the ocean. Having boats all around you, just watching you perform.
Okay, so not even like a cruise ship. You would just want to be on a floating stage.
On a floating stage. Everybody else around like on boats or something like that.
Okay, hell yeah.
I would say the Pacific Ocean.
Hell yeah.
Not the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I dig that.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical question, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday. Who would you want an album from?
Speaker Knockers.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah, that was my favorite artist. That's the artist that mainly inspired me to have my sound.
Hell yeah.
You know, so it's
I can see it too.
Yeah, Speaker Knockers for sure, man. Yeah.
Damn, that's a name I haven't heard in a minute.
Yeah, I know, man. He was lost in the sauce after he passed away, man. But like, I still listen to his music to this day, and I still go back for inspiration just because there's a couple of bars that go over my head and stuff like that.
Always.
But I mean, just his cadence, the way he was sounding on autotune, and like the way he raps, it was just really, really ahead of its time. And he produced his own beats, which is something that you don't see many times nowadays for a successful artist.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up.
For sure.
What can we look forward to between, let's say, now and September?
Now in September, I'm actually working on...
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. It's a new month by the time it's coming out, now and October.
So between now and October, I would say I have a Litty Tunes album dropping. So Litty Tunes is my label
Hell yeah.
I oversee. There's 6 artists on there, including me. So I'm going to be dropping that album within the next month or a month after. I can show you the cover art too if you want to pop it up or whatever. And then I also have another album for my personal album called Real Lover Boy. It's a spin-off of Drake's Certified Lover Boy. I'm doing my Real Lover Boy just because that all those songs on those are like all love songs or like they're like songs about, you know, finding love or like being in love or being heartbroken, whatever the case is. So I dedicated its own project for that as well. And then I also have another solo project dropping after that, which is just real life stuff. So not so much focus on love, but just like my struggles or what I'm going through, and that type of genre for sure. So I mean, I got 3 projects I'm about to drop soon as well. And then I got other projects with other artists that we're doing collaborative projects and stuff.
Oh, dope.
So like you said, you know, I've dropped 9 albums in like 2 years. So I'm still planning on dropping a lot more this year as well. So it's like the grind never stops, man.
No, totally. Hell yeah, I dig that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for this next one, go and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
So you can find Litty B on any streaming platform: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Deezer, Amazon Music, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever you want to find me at, man. Just type in Litty B, and you can just, you know, hopefully my name pops up. I think I'm one of the only Litty Bs in the catalog, so it shouldn't be that hard to find me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Yeah, shout out obviously everybody in Litty Tunes: Mayo, Kataya, Atheos, Litty Key, A Money, Mayo. Who else? Shout out A Money, my brother Tina Ness, Frano, and pretty much everybody else that's been messing with us and keep supporting us, keep doing our thing. Heck yeah, man! I love all y'all.
Hell yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Okay.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary. Make sure to click the link below and go check them out. I guarantee you're going to like it. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Okay.
But what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a deep cut. Not a lot of people know it, but it's one you think everybody should go check out.
I wouldn't say it's an album because it's a mixtape, but it's The Waters by Mick Jenkins.
Oh, damn. Holy shit. That's such a good... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Wow. One of the best projects ever.
You know, I think he's going to be here soon.
Is he?
Yeah, actually. An artist that's been on the show before, Oblé Reed, he's opening up for him.
Oh wow! Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, so Oblé, definitely that's a cool collection. But
Waters, classic, man. That definitely inspired me to quit all soda, quit these things, and just drink only water, man.
Mick Jenkins is a really I'm not gonna say underrated because his name is definitely out there now.
Sure.
But dude definitely should have got the attention a lot.
No, yeah, for sure.
A lot sooner.
Yeah, I still slap that album to this day, or that mixtape to this day.
Yeah, man, that's a good answer.
Yeah, for sure. Heck yeah.
All right, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get up on out of here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
And it's Litty B.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.